and Beth, strikes did come up in Prime Minister's questions. But what Keir Starmer really pushed the Prime Minister on was funding for private schools, the amount of money that could be generated if VAT was removed from them, and of course, targeting Winchester, which is the school that the Prime Minister himself went to.
I mean, it's curious in a way, Jane, in that he went on that, in that what's the issue for people on people's minds at the moment? It will be cost of living and strikes. But what Keir Starmer did there is, I think, develop an attack line that we are going to see again and again. And they've only gone up against each other a few times, but you can see what's happening here. Keir Starmer raised a policy issue. This is VAT on private school fees. Now, Labour have said that they will put VAT on fees if they win the election, a clear policy division between the Conservatives and the Labour Party. Labour think it would raise about 1.7 billion. But why did Keir Starmer, or the manner in which he did that, was both in a personal attack on the Prime Minister and an attempt to sort of frame Rishi Sunak again as someone that he argues is weak and it's being pushed around by what Labour call invested interests, and in this case, being pushed around or giving money unnecessarily, in his view, to those private schools. But he used it in a way to remind us all that Rishi Sunak went to a very, very prestigious public school, Winchester College, because he used it as tax breaks worth £6 million. That was the point Keir Starmer was making to Winchester College, and he is trying to frame the Prime Minister as someone who protects vested interests instead of standing up to working people, but making it a personal attack as well of his own privilege. And they have done this in different ways, raising the issue of non-dom status. You remember Rishi Sunak's wife was a non-dom. She has since changed her tax status. And last week, people, not Keir Starmer himself, but Labour politicians, raising the issue of whether or not Rishi Sunak has private health care. So framing him, if you like, as a person of privilege who is out of touch, but also trying to find these dividing lines between Labour and the Conservatives, be it on the windfall tax, Labour talking about how they would have introduced it earlier, how much that would have raised, or public schools. Now, actually, to be fair to Rishi Sunak, he had a good rebuttal on that, in that he said, my parents worked very hard to pay those fees. His mother, a pharmacist, his father, a GP, to pay those fees to one of the best public schools in the country. And he accused Keir Starmer of attacking people's aspirations. The second line of attack was, why don't you get tough with your backbenchers on house building? And he had the rebuttal again, Rishi Sunak, of, well, why don't you, Keir Starmer, get tough on Labour MPs joining the picket lines? But you can see now the contours of where Keir Starmer clearly thinks he can attack Rishi Sunak on. One is on privilege, and the second is on what he perceives as Rishi Sunak's weakness. These are two clear lines of attack that the Labour leader is now developing.